We're live. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Let me start in the magical words, which is up by Tunde Ajayi, who's not joining us today because he has prior important meetings to go take care of. Let me just big up the Almadina 313 charity as well before I even start anything else. But yep, in the magical words of Tunde Ajayi, dream it, believe it, become it. And you know my line is come on up. Yep. We've got big things this weekend. This weekend, we've got some really good fights coming on, right? We've got a European title fight with Jack Massey fighting Isaac Chamberlain, which is not a foregone conclusion or a gimme fight. Right? We've also got what's his name? He's fighting Tunde's cousin, isn't it? You got my boy, Ben Whitaker, fighting that Nigerian brother. And my apologies if I've forgotten his name. I'm going to go check on my phone right now to go find out his name. But that's who Ben Whitaker's up against. And, you know, but the main fight, the big boy fight, the fight that everybody's talking about is Chris Billiam Smith defending his WBO cruiserweight crown against Richard Riakporhe. And that is a humdinger of a fight, and a fight that I am so greatly looking forward to. I think it's going to be, thank you very much, Ezra Arenika, right? But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, we got no Tunde today. Tunde's got some prior business to go and take care of, but no problem at all. Yeah, I mean, no problem at all. But I know that Johnny Nelson will be joining me today. Also, will be joining me is Mark Prince. But Johnny Nelson more so to give us the insight on the fight. In fact, I got to send him a message right now. Insight on the fight that's going on, which is going to be screened live on Sky for Boxer, which is next week, Saturday, the 15th of June, where Richard Riakporhe will be challenging Chris Billiam Smith. And Chris Billiam Smith has become a worthy champion of the show. Worthy champion simply because he defeated Lawrence Okoli, and then since then he's defended his crown successfully as well, and he keeps on moving forward. Yep, let me just big up Bobby Wright. Thank you, Bobby. You're such a good man. Who else is there? Russell Morgan, big up. Duke Alexander. Yep, Tunde's neighbours on holiday. That's why the internet's not working. Yeah, something like that. And Manny, the guy behind the cam, right? Manny is also away in Amsterdam. So he's getting better work. I'm really proud of this little young man, you know. I'm very, very proud of him. So we've got those things going on right now. Michael Thompson says was looking forward to hearing about what's going on with Yarde. Michael Thompson, you wouldn't be hearing anything about Anthony Yarde right now from anybody until what they have to take care of is taken care of. So you wouldn't be hearing nothing anyway. Boxing fan, how you doing, my friend? Nathan Bailey. Yep, that's right. No Tunde today. Rob Meyer, always saluting and always joining up the thing. Andy B28, thank you very much for your kind words. Listen, let me go sync. I have to make sure, because I got to keep this thing in sync. Because Tunde's not here, because Tunde's a person who likes to click people in. That's not my job. That's Tunde's business. 1 second. Let me just send the message out to Johnny, because he's meant to be on here. And here is the legend himself, Mr. Johnny Nelson. And I want people to realize that he's Britain's second longest reigning world champion. But theoretically, yeah, Johnny, you're actually the longest. Do you know that?
You really? You tell me.
Yeah. I'm gonna explain to you why. Because you had the title for 7.5 years, right?
Yeah.
Right. Joe Kawasaki had his title for, I think it's 8.5 years. It is 8.5 years. But this is what I'm going to say to you now. This I'm ready for all you people who think you know, because I know, because I'm the knowledge. When Joe Kawasaki moved up to light heavyweight, yeah, it wasn't actually for any alphabet crown. It was for the lineal heavyweight crown. So it wasn't for the legitimate light heavyweight crown when he defeated Bernard Hopkins, and then he also went on to beat Roy Jones. Aha. Because it wasn't for a WBC, it wasn't for a WBO, it wasn't for IBF, and it was for a WBA. So theoretically, Johnny, you are actually Britain's longest reigning world champion.
Damn. You know what?
Right.
You even tell me stuff about my own career that I didn't know about. So that makes me smile. So but as things anyway, you had me go on to this Chrome thing to connect to you.
Yeah.
And I tried to transfer it to my laptop. It didn't work, so I just had to do it on my phone. So
Yeah,
apologies
but
for.
Johnny, you're on here. You're on here crystal clear. You know what I mean? You're on here crystal clear. So I'm just grateful that you're here. You know what I mean? So we got like the former exactly Karma Suran saying like man like Johnny Nelson. That's right. We call in the big guns. We have to call in the big guns because there is no more fitting person to speak to about the show that we've got this Saturday, the Boxer Show, which is being promoted in my hometown. I actually own a house on that road. I got two houses on that road actually on Holmesdale Road. So there is no more fitting person, I would say, to go to and ask about the fight between Chris Billiam Smith and Richard Riakporhe than
Nice.
yourself. I don't believe there is.
Nice, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Listen, it's a good fight. It's a good fight between the two of them. They boxed each other 5 years ago. Richard got the rubber, the green. You got the shout. Chris thought he deserved it. Both fighters matured rapidly. Both fighters' careers have one fighter's career has improved a lot faster than the others, as in Chris. Chris is now world champion. Chris is where Richard wants to be. Now, there's two worries here. If Richard is complacent, thinking I've done you once, I'll do you again. That's the worst thing you could do because that could have failure written all over it. You've still got to go in there like a hungry fighter. For Chris Billiam Smith, knowing this is the only man that's beaten him, he knows how hard it was the first time. He knows what to expect the first time. But he's now a fighter that really believes in himself. And when he believing in himself, that makes all the difference. But both fighters have been under criticism in the past in regards to believing in themselves, letting the shots go. So Chris has proved that. He's proved, you know what, I've done it. I've got in there with Lawrence Coley. I've got the title. Now I'm the man. Saturday night is about Richard Riakporhe proving himself to the public. He may have proved it to himself in the gym, to his coach and everybody else. This is his opportunity to prove himself on a public stage. And if he can do, looking at his last fight, he's not had much consistency in his career. He's been stop-starting, he's been quiet for one reason or another. If he can do, when he lets his hands go like he did in his last fight, then we're going to be in for a hell of a fight. A hell of a fight. I think the gloves are off. It's on tonight. It's now you can now download
So
it.
what time the gloves are on? Was it
Now
on?
you can download it now anytime now. It's out from today. You
Okay,
can
so
download the
a
gloves
little
are off.
plug for Sky. Yeah, I mean, even though their man sacked me, but I'm saying like,
They didn't sack you, man. They just couldn't
no, a
handle you.
little,
They didn't
no,
sack you.
no,
They couldn't
a
handle
big,
you.
no. Bottom line is this: they're putting boxing on, so it's like it's good, and I enjoy the gloves are off. I really do enjoy the gloves are off. 'Cause I saw little highlights of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
That's what. And both fighters, they have an arrogance, an air of arrogance about each other. Chris, as if to say to Richard, "You don't know me, man. You're delusional. You don't realize I'm not the same guy." For Richard, he has that smugness to say, "I beat you once, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it again." I do think it's a really good fight. I think both fighters' assessment of each other was almost spot on. Richard's assessment of Chris was that he gets hit far too clearly, far too often, which I agree with. And that shortens a fighter's career. But whilst Chris is in it, he's a formidable, fit fighter that is at the point in his career where he needs to be, the way he's fighting. For Chris's opinion on Richard doesn't realize the growth and the development and how much Chris has come on as a fighter all in all. And so for him to get any comfort out of the first fight they had and him winning, that's where the problem is going to be. And so I see both fighters' points of view. I think it's going to be an amazing fight. And you've got to give it to Chris Smith. He's going to the lion's den. He's going there. And I think the responsibility of any champion when he goes to fight anywhere is to be able to box in anybody's backyard and come out the winner. That's a world champion. Now I know he's still in the UK, but he's got to go into his opponent's backyard. And then I want to see him do that in Germany, in Italy, in France, in America. That to me is a true world champion. A true world champion. Say, hey, that means I'm king of the world. I can be anybody, any country, any situation. I did it. I think I boxed in 19 different countries throughout my career. I think I've got an 90% winning streak on that. You know, and I just, to me, as far as that, the numbers might have been exaggerated, but my winning streak is far outweighs anything else. And not many fighters do that now. So yes, they're not abroad, but you don't understand. Chris doing this in Richard's backyard, it's that first step, the first responsibility of being a champion.
I hear that, Johnny, but what do you think Billiam Smith does exceptionally well to deter the punching power of Billiam Smith? The punching power of Richard Riakporhe. Calling the same guy.
He's consistent. He's persistent. He's very fit. He's very tough, and he doesn't stop going. And he can break most fighters' hearts. If someone's constantly coming and hitting him, they're coming all the time, they're putting in the pressure. That's what he does. That's what we saw him do with Lawrence, we saw him do with Isaac. He just kept the pressure on. He can punch. There's nothing outstandingly special about him, but he's strong in every department. He's a stronger offensive fighter than a defensive fighter. He's a stronger. He's a fighter that can take some lick. You know, he's a fighter that can hold it, and he's got a good energy levels. And this breaks most fighters' hearts. It's an underrated skill. This breaks most fighters' hearts, and that's what Chris does well. And that as a young man, you know, that's what's got him to the stage where he's at in his career.
What do you think Richard does well, Johnny, to deter the resilience? Because you got to give Billiam Smith, he's resilient.
Yeah.
What do you think he does well to stop his resilience?
And so I saw it in his last fight, and this is one thing I've said he's needed in all these fights coming up. He needs to let the hands go, because this man can punch. He's a clean, driving, powerful puncher. But once he lets those hands go, when I say let the hands go, you've got to be able to let the southpaw right hand make it a lead, a quick 1-2 lead, a quick, unbalanced, unidentified rhythm. Instead of like setting off on the jab, quick backhand lead, finish off with the legs left up, quick front hand lead with a jab, bring it up. You've got to be able to have variation. It's letting the hands go. Instead of being stuck there thinking like 1-2, 1-1-2. You've got to be able to think 2-1, 2-2-1, 1-1, 2-2. And you've got to be able to just think so easily when a man moves to your left, moves to your right, and instinctive 2-shot, 1-shot, you know, and being able to twist it up. I saw that in Richard in his last fight. I said, there he is. Now, if he brings that mentality to this fight with that power and that his own rhythm, that's what beats Billiam Smith. The unorthodox but precise, powerful style that I saw in his last fight. He's got to hunt the guy down. Don't give him space. If he gives Billiam Smith space, he loses. He can't be waiting, thinking, I'll wait. He loses. He's got to take the pace. He's got to control the fight, not let the fight control him.
Because I hear that, and I'm not disagreeing with you, right? But I'm wanting people to know that the Billiam Smith of their first fight is not the same guy that's going to turn up on Saturday night. Right? For a number of reasons, right?
He's a man, he's not a boy anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's manned up now. He manned up a lot. He surprised me even though it was a hard fight, but it was an easy win for him against Lawrence Okoli. Even though we're hearing Lawrence was struggling in the weight and blah and everything else, but he gave Lawrence a beatdown. I thought like it's going to go points and Lawrence is going to get robbed. And it was nothing to do with that. He beat up Lawrence Okoli, right? Subsequently, now Lawrence Okoli's moved up to his new bridgeweight division and reinvented himself and become a world champion again. Fair play, but nobody doesn't really recognize that crown yet. We
Yeah.
have to give. We got Ben Oldham in the house. Oh my goodness gracious, is Manny there? All right. Good evening, gentlemen. Super tournament in their prime. Johnny Nelson, David Hay, Usyk, Jai Opataya, Virgil Hill, and Evander Holyfield. Who wins? Thank you so much, Ben. Ben, you've been hiding from us, but thank you for blessing us today with that £100. I got to send Johnny 20 quid out of that. All right. Go on. Right. Who? Right. Go on. Who do you think would win in a super tournament?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I'd say Evander, me. The rest can do what they're doing. Top two are me and
Okay.
Evander.
All right. So, Johnny Nelson, how do you think that you'd have beaten the man who's the flavor right now in Alexander Usyk?
Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight in my day. So let's not get twisted. When this 57-year-old Johnny Nelson's talking about how would have dealt with Alexander Usyk, people saying Johnny's gassed. I'm talking about Johnny Nelson at the peak of my career, when everything had lodged into place. The best version of me against the best version of him.
The best version of you, as far as I'm concerned, was when you beat Carl Thompson. That was an incredible Johnny Nelson.
So, and let me just tell you, every time I've seen Alexander Usyk, I said, I know that style. That style we see every day in the gym. Everybody's like, oh my God, this man, blah, blah, blah. The man himself said he and Lomachenko looked at Prince Nassim Hamid's style of fight. And his style of fight was what they were, that's what they tried to mimic. His style of fight is our style of fight. Unorthodox boxing, boxing off the front foot, boxing off the back foot, side to side, and just using variety. You know, and this is why what Usyk doesn't surprise me, doesn't shock me. But everybody else is shocked about it because why? He's a good offensive style of fight, and that's why Naz was so successful coming from our gym, because he was a good offensive Ingle style fighter, and that's what Usyk is. He's a good offensive style fighter, but his style is nothing I've never seen before. And his style, what you do, and the thing is, that's why I say when I've said he's an average southpaw, and people that don't know boxing get gassed about it, and that's what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. When Usyk himself says, we mimicked, looking at Naz, we looked at his style, we get that. That's what we worked on. Our trainers there, they didn't want us to fight like that. Look how successful him and Lomachenko are. So what I'm saying to you is, the language he understands, the style he understands, is the language I was brought up on. That was food. That's my kind of food. So I know exactly how I'd boxing. And as I said about Richard, use that jab, unorthodox rhythm, backhand lead, switch it up, turn it back. Now my man's managed to step up from cruiserweight up to heavyweight. Them big boys can't deal with that because they've not seen it. There's nobody training them to handle that kind of fight. There's nobody training them. They're not going to get sparring partners that can mimic that style of fight unless they understand what he's doing. They're either going to get a stand-up southpaw or a stand-up orthodox fighter. They don't know how to deal with him. They don't know how to handle him.
Okay, so how would you beat Usyk then? He doesn't know how to handle the style. So how would you beat him? Would you beat him on points? Would you have stopped him? How do you think you'd have done?
I'd have either beat him on points or weighed him down towards the end. He is hittable. He is hittable. But points or weighed him down towards the end. It wouldn't have been early because it would have been a chess match.
Okay. How do you think you'd have dealt with David Hay?
David Hay, I like David Hay. And David Hay was a great hustler. He'd make a man think he's going to do something. You think, what's he doing? Boom, over to him, puts it on you. With David Hay, you've got to school him. I know David Hay has the power and he has that explosive power, but I see the hustle. I see the bluff. You look at his fights when he said, we're going to do this, we've got a plan, we're going to X, Y, Z. There was no master plan. There was no Einstein master plan. Got the job done, jumped on him. He's got the power and drops it in. And people are overthinking it. You've got to be able to use your boxing smarts. If you've got boxing smarts, boxing IQ, and you can punch and you can move, the job's done.
Okay. Joe Opataya, how would you dealt with him?
I like Opataya. He's got a good energy level. And Opataya, in his last fight, to me, it showed a vulnerability that people forgot about with Opataya. Because I expected him to get rid of Masternik. I expected him to get rid of him. I expected him to get rid of him because Masternik had not boxed for 2 years. Prior to that, I expected him getting rid of him. But Masternik's pure dogged determination, sticking at the task in hand. Once Opetaya's style initially wasn't being effective for Opetaya, he started to plateau out, and it started to get more even. His style, that style, that energy style when he's in and out, it intimidates a man. It makes a man work off the back foot. You've got to control the pace. Control his pace. When you can control the pace, when it gets to mid rounds, that's when what you're doing will start to rise to the top.
Okay. I see why Ben Olden put Virgil Hill in it, but people need to remember, like, Virgil Hill, when he moved up to cruiserweight, he was the WBA regular champion. He wasn't the official
Yeah,
champion.
Virgil's too small, man. Virgil
Yeah.
get mushed up.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Virgil Hill was a great heavyweight.
Virgil Hill boxed Henry Mask. I think Henry Mask beat Virgil Hill
Yep.
for the light heavyweight title. I was Henry Mask's sparring partner, and I beat him up 8 times out of 10 for that fight. I was his sparring partner for that fight, and I beat him up 8 times out of 10 when he was fighting Virgil Hill, and he beat Virgil Hill. A beats B, B beats C.
That's not necessarily the point, though, because A beats B doesn't beat C.
But what I'm saying is, you look at Virgil Hill. I look at how I handle Henry Mask. I look at how we handle Virgil Hill, and I looked at Virgil. I thought you was at a better level than that. But maybe Virgil Hill was past a certain level of his career where his better days had gone. That's why he eventually ended up moving up to cruiserweight. But that version of Virgil Hill, that boxed Henry Mask, he wouldn't have lived with me. It just wouldn't have happened.
All right.
People don't understand. So when I'm talking about these fighters, they're thinking, they're seeing the stuff that happens here in the UK. They're not understanding. When I'm spending 6 years in Germany, sparring with boxing royalty, the elite, the Olympians that have become world champion, the state-backed fighters in Axel Schultz. Axel Schultz boxed George Foreman. I was his sparring partner for George Foreman. And I knew what I was doing with him. Henry Mask, when he boxed Virgil Hill, and many other fighters. I was out there with these men for over 6 years. I learned that I learned my job on that road. That's what I did. And I knew what I was capable of doing. The only difference between them and me was they could do it in public. And they taught me how to do it in public. Because I thought, if I can do this to you, man, here, and you man are driving off in big sponsored Mercedes and BMWs, and I'm going back to my dirty little bedsit. That was my wake-up call, thinking, nah, Johnny, the only difference between them and you is they can do it in public and you can't. And that was the best thing. The worst thing they did was let me through the doors and see how it operates. The best thing they did was let me through the doors because it made me the champ, helped me understand and believe the champion I was.
So, you versus Evander Holyfield?
Evander Holyfield would have been the biggest handful going, and I've been asked many, many times. I look at Evander and I think this guy's got everything. He's got boxing ability, and he can box the shorter guys, the taller guys. He's got an unbelievable faith, a faith that you think, where does this come from? This man can be getting beaten for 11 rounds, 2 minutes and 35 seconds. And for that last 25 seconds, he still thinks he's going to be on it. He still thinks he's going to pull it in. Even when he boxed Mike Tyson, I thought your punch is moving the wrong direction for Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson will dip into your shots. Always had his number. I loved his fitness. Love his mental strength, his mental belief. I think Evander Holyfield would have been the biggest handful. Would have been a points job. I needed to beat him because his pressure. This guy, you'd have to chop his arms off and slow him down, and he still keep coming. Chop another one off, he still keep coming. Chop his ear off, he still keep coming. This guy's heart is the biggest heart I've ever seen in any fighter on earth.
So we're hearing a lot of the talk right now about, because Usyk has done exactly what Evander Holyfield's done. But he's done it in a four belt weight era when Evander Holyfield did it when he knocked out James Buster Douglas in 1990 after James Buster Douglas famously beat Mike Tyson in February of 1990. He moved Evander Holyfield unified the cruiserweight.
And that year, James Buster Douglas was the highest paid sportsman in any sport that year when he boxed Evander Holyfield.
Crazy, isn't it? Right? Crazy. Right? But people like to talk about Evander Holyfield and Usyk, and it's like a lot of people now. We're hearing a lot of people saying, "Well, maybe Usyk's greater than Evander Holyfield," right?
Nah, don't be silly. Just tell me this: when did Evander Holyfield ever lose his shape? Ever, ever lose his shape? Even when he was getting beat up, my man kept his shape. We never lost his shape. Kept his shape. Kept the pressure on. Even when he was under pressure, kept his shape. Kept everything intact. Even when he was going in against big monsters like Riakporhe and Big George Foreman, kept his shape, taking a lick. The back end of him, of course, if you're looking at the back end of him, that his best days are gone. But what I'm saying is, Evander Holyfield, he kept his shape. Usyk, at times you've seen him lose his shape, and again, these men don't know how to deal with Usyk, and that's why he'll run rings around Anthony Joshua, even when they fight a third time if they do. That's why if Fury decides to box him again, he'll do exactly the same again with Fury. He's an orthodox style. These guys are not putting the homework in and prepared to do the road work to prepare for somebody like him. He beats him the first time and think, I won't do it again. And then my man, he just does it again. Why does he do it again? Because he's an orthodox style, not awkward. He's an orthodox style. It's something they've never, ever had to deal with. Tyson Fury had that in abundance with everybody else he boxed, and he come across somebody else that could do it better than him. So how could he deal with somebody with such an unorthodox style? Couldn't bullshit him, couldn't get in his head, couldn't fool him up, couldn't hustle him because Usyk's seen it. So that's why the crop of fighters out there, they're not prepared to put in the work to understand and open their mind and to be taught. They'll be taught, say, show me that, show me that, show me that. Nah, I don't want to do this. They shouldn't have a choice. But it depends how much they want it.
Well, I'm saying this is like I was just seen on the fence. Just said, what about Michael Spinks? Let's leave Michael Spinks out of this argument, right? And the reason why I'm saying leave Michael Spinks out of this argument is because Michael Spinks as a light heavyweight is top 4 greatest light heavyweights of all time. Michael Spinks wasn't a heavyweight. Michael Spinks was an opportunist at heavyweight when he fought Larry Holmes, but he wasn't a heavyweight. I mean, he wasn't a heavyweight. So I'm not even buying the Michael Spinks talk. And Michael Spinks never boxed at cruiserweight either. I think Michael Spinks could have done something at cruiserweight if he was, but there weren't no big person. The big purse there was for him to fight Larry Holmes, which he did, and he beat Larry Holmes in the first fight. It was debatable in the second fight, but what is very debatable in the second fight, but what it is what it is. I'm not even going to argue about that one. It is what it is. But when it comes to like people saying that Usyk is better than Evander Holyfield, and I'm just going to be real, there is an argument for it. There's an argument for it simply because he never really had no warm-ups to get into the heavyweight division, right? He fought Derek Chisora, then he fought Joshua. There's no warm-ups there.
Right? Oh, let me just ask you this then.
Evander Holyfield had quite a few fights. I remember his fight in 89 against Michael Dokes, which is one of the, any young people on here, go and watch Evander Holyfield, Michael Dokes. That's one of the best heavyweight fights you could ever watch.
So let me ask you this then. If that is the case, then you look at the caliber of opponents that were out there for Evander Holyfield and the caliber of opponents that are out there for Alexander Usyk. Now, the two big names that run the division, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Right? And he started Tyson Fury and Anthony. They're the two big names. They're the two big head honchos. Look at the resume, the heavyweight resume of Evander Holyfield and who he beat. So these guys, these big units that benefit from the size, from their reach, to beat most fighters. That's two fighters. You look at the guys who Evander Holyfield went in with and had to deal with, and I'm quite sure it's probably talking a dozen fighters, heavyweight good fighters that you can think you mentioned one Dokes. You can go through the list of fighters that Evander Holyfield boxed to establish his position.
All right, but Johnny, and also you're very right. I forgot Chaz Witherspoon. I forgot that he fought Chaz Witherspoon. His first fight was Chaz Witherspoon. He didn't impress me in that fight whatsoever. Right? He fights.
Derek did an amazing job. Derek did an amazing job with him. But then you look at what happened with Derek and Tyson Fury. So look at the caliber of opponents he boxed comparing to the caliber opponents Evander Holyfield boxed. So people that are making that assumption, we can all have an opinion. So let's look at fact.
Yeah, and I'm looking at fact.
Factually.
I'm looking at fact. All you can do is beat who was there. He went up there and he beat the best of his generation, right?
Yeah.
First time up. Hold up a second. Unlike Evander Holyfield didn't beat the best of his generation at heavyweight.
Yeah. But the ones he did beat,
Because he lost to Lennox Lewis.
Okay, he lost to Lennox, but look at the heavyweights.
Exactly. November 13th. Right, exactly.
Look at the heavyweights he beat up to that point. Look at the heavyweights he got in with up to that point.
All right,
now those heavyweights.
Okay, all right, Johnny, and I'm going to look at them. I'm going to look at them. Right? He beat George Foreman. He beat Larry Holmes. Right? As world champion. Right? He didn't. He beat Smoking Burt Cooper and nearly gets knocked out by him. When Smoking Burt Cooper was the stand-in for Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson popped his rib. And then when the fight was rescheduled, then Mike Tyson went to jail for rape. But remember, he gets badly wobbled. He didn't impress anybody. At the time when Evander Holyfield was world heavyweight champion, yeah, people were looking at the guy that gave Mike Tyson a run twice in Razor Ruddock as being the best heavyweight in the world. Do you remember that? So if we go back to 1991, 92, we was looking at Razor Ruddock as the best heavyweight in the world. Evander Holyfield wasn't even in the argument. And it's only now when we look back at Evander Holyfield's work, then we coagulate, we put it all together, we say, no, Evander Holyfield's a bad boy. But I'm talking about at the time, I studiously remember that nobody wasn't looking at Evander Holyfield like Evander Holyfield is big bad monster. We respected him for everything he did, but we didn't believe that he was a real heavyweight. So looking at that, and what I'm saying is this: fair play to Evander Holyfield. He had 3 fights with Riddick Bowe. He won one of the 3 fights, one of the 3, and that was in the rematch when you had the fan man coming and everything else. That's when he won that fight. I'm not taking nothing away from Evander Holyfield because he's one of my favorite fights. But I'm just looking at the body of work. We have to give Usyk his credit. Right? Usyk's a bad boy. Come on, Johnny, man. Just give him his dues, man.
No. I'm giving him his dues, but when you compare the two against each other, I'm saying, no, I'm sorry.
At cruiserweight. No, I'm going to be real with you. At cruiserweight, I'm telling you now,
we're talking
Evander Holyfield would have punched the living daylights out of Usyk.
Yeah, okay. Oh, and then you look at the success at cruiserweight, at heavyweight. Heavyweight Holyfield beat France Botha. Louis Savaris. I boxed him. Louis Savaris. Let's have a look.
You watched Louis Savaris?
Huh?
You watched Louis Savaris?
Louis Savaris. No. Tyson boxed Louis Savaris. Jesus, I was up to that fight. I should have boxed the winner. But I didn't. That's when, remember Tyson boxed Louis Savaris in Scotland?
Yep. Danny Williams boxed on. I was at that fight. I was there.
That's right.
That's the time when there was the altercation with Mike Tyson and a promoter.
Yeah. He boxed and beat Hasim Rahman. You remember? Yeah.
Yep.
Johnny Ruiz lost to Lennox Lewis. Beat Lennox Lewis controversially. Should he? Michael Moorer beat Mike Tyson twice.
Now the second fight with Michael Moorer is very impressive.
Yeah, Ray Mercer beat Ray Mercer. You know, so you look at you
know what? His Ray Mercer was impressive, because he floored Ray Mercer. That's something that nobody at that time has ever done.
What I'm saying is, if you look at the caliber of fighters he fought, and these guys were bad men, he boxed a good version of them, the bad version. And this guy that jumped up from light heavyweight to cruiserweight to heavyweight, you look at what he achieved as a heavyweight. How can you compare? How can you say Usyk he wouldn't have been a better heavyweight than him? What he's done is he's beat the best that's here at the moment. But this is why these conversations are subjective, because we can even say, well, he wouldn't have. These are like it's in a matter of opinion. But you look at who they box and how, when I mention these names.
We've lost you, Johnny. Can't hear you. Johnny, we can't hear you. Johnny, can you hear me? Ladies and gentlemen, we've lost Johnny Nelson. Sorry, can you guys hear Johnny? Let me know, please, in the comment. Can't hear you. Yeah, Johnny, we can't hear you. You know when you're talking to these old people who learn, thank you. Hello, Johnny? Sorry, we can't hear you, Johnny. You hear me? Nod if you can hear me, Johnny. That's when you get old people with technology. That's what happens. And we still can't hear you. And I'm echoing now, so I don't know what's going on now. Yes, Johnny. There we go. So we missed your rant. So can you continue, please, sir?
The rant was I was running off an array of fights on Pinklon Thomas all the way through to all the heavyweight successes he had. So when people are saying Alexander Usyk was as good, if not better, than Evander Holyfield as a heavyweight, not in a million years, because Evander Holyfield proved himself as a heavyweight against some big heavyweights and dealt with them. How many heavyweights has Usyk deservedly proved himself against? Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora. Come on, look! He beat Derek, and he said Derek was like a handful for him. You know what I mean? And Witherspoon, you're just thinking he's not done enough to merit that argument. In my opinion, he's not done enough to merit that argument.
Well, I'm going to tell you the why. Why? Because similarly, like I love studying boxing, and like all he can do is beat the guys in his era, right? And more time when you take the scalp of someone, you're also taking the scalp of all their work that they've done as well, right? So he's taking the scalp of Tyson Fury, so that means he takes the free fights, even though it's two that he got the wins, he takes the free fights from the Deontay Wilder away from Tyson Fury. But how he beat Tyson Fury, because it was a shock Tyson Fury the other night. That was a very good Tyson Fury the other night, right?
Of course it was.
Right.
Do you think Tyson can come up with a better version of himself against Usyk?
It's going to be very difficult to do so. I'm going to be real with you.
So you don't think he could come up with a better version of himself against Usyk?
No, I don't think he would come with a better version of himself. I think he could stay with the same version of himself, but make those slight adjustments. The same version of Tyson Fury that went into that fight against Alexander Usyk in round four, 5, and 6. That Tyson Fury, that was a good Tyson Fury, right? But he couldn't keep the momentum, right? Because you got to look at somebody and say, when you're taking those shots from such a big guy, and Tyson Fury thought, I've got you now. He hit him with a hellacious uppercut, right? And Usyk didn't just take it. Usyk was hurt. Usyk questioned himself in that fight and said, you know what? I want to be here, right? And then when it did that, that kind of mentally kind of sapped things out of Tyson Fury as well. And then there was also the debacle in Tyson Fury's corner, which I thought was all over the place. I don't know where they were. Wherever they were, they weren't even at the races, mate. Right? So there was all of that they got to take into consideration. But do I believe that Tyson Fury can do anything better? No. What I think that Tyson Fury can do is try to continue rounds 4, 5, and 6. If you can continue round 4, 5, and 6, because things start to get pear-shaped from round 7, 8, 9. 9 was a big round where he got hurt badly, right? But you could see what Usyk was doing. He was perpetually, sneakily moving forward, and you could see when he was throwing the south, and you know because you used to box southpaw. When a man throws a southpaw jab to your gut, you know they're looking to come over with the overhand left power shot. And I thought someone with Tyson Fury's boxing IQ and intelligence would have seen that's what he's trying to do. That's what he was trying to do. And he did it, and he was showing Tyson Fury, I'm not going to run from you. And I think that kind of messed him up a little piece. But you know what? I hope that Tyson Fury can come back from this. Whether he does come back from this, it's down to Tyson Fury. But I hope that he can. But I'm just going to be real. I'm a fan of Usyk, mate. Right? I'm a fan of Alexander Usyk. Right? I like the way how he maneuvers himself. I like the way how he carries himself. All of those kind of things. I'm saying, like, when you think of a world champion, right?
Mm.
And the world heavyweight champion, how he carries himself is how my ideology of how heavyweight world champions should carry themselves. And I think he carries himself well. There's no scandal behind him. He's a God-fearing man. That is the role model guy. He's that guy. You know what I mean? And a Christian man who likes to kiss his crucifix while he's in the fight. Come on. You ain't going to get no bigger than that. I'm just telling you. Wait.
I heard Frank Warren. Can you hear me?
Go on. I can hear you loud and
I
clear.
heard Frank Warren talk about comparing the outlandish things Tyson Fury said, comparing him to Ali. When Ali first came on the scene, which were, and he was like representing.
Stop
when Frank
it.
said that, I'm thinking, Frank, stop that shit. Because certain people that don't know better will buy that bullshit you're talking. Frank tried to justify some of the things Tyson said on bipolar. And he compared to, well, Ali said some outlandish things, some even racist things at the time. I remember at a time when he's living in America, black man can't go in certain cafe places to eat. So Ali talked about certain things at certain times that were happening.
You know what, Johnny?
Tyson...
I think you should have been born in them days because you'd have boxed at welterweight.
but what I'm saying to you is, I understand what you're saying about how a fighter conducts himself, how a fighter can carry himself. I understand showmanship. I understand putting bums on seats. I understand all of that. But I also agree with what you're saying. How I have never ever seen in my life a British fighter. British fans are so happy a British fighter lost to an overseas fighter ever. And the question I posed was, why is that? Why was that?
Do you know what?
What was it? Why were so many Brits happy to see Tyson Fury lose? Don't tell me they're all jealous.
Nah, well,
What was
you
this man
listen
doing?
to
What was
me.
this man doing for them to say? I seen film footage of people cheering, oh, when he's here, cheering in for England. Why is that? To me, I just think, so there's something fundamentally wrong with how a man conducts himself. I understand showmanship. I understand selling a fight. I understand all of that sort of stuff. But I am not going to excuse it on bad behavior and on any illness. I'm not excusing it. You can only take
Yeah,
so
but
much.
when people are saying, I think they're going a bit too far. The bad behavior wasn't necessarily Tyson Fury going into that fight. The bad behavior, right, was more to do with what his dad did. I'm gonna be real with you. I have to be real with you. You know what I didn't like? I didn't like the fact that Tyson Fury was effing and blinding in Saudi Arabia.
See
Right?
that?
I didn't like that at all.
And,
You know what I mean?
and that's what I'm saying.
And I'm speaking as a Muslim as well.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
that's what I'm saying. And this is what I'm saying. So there's certain things that people like you and I were looking, thinking, why? If that was another certain someone or a certain something.
It does, Anthony Joshua never killed him.
All right. So listen to this. So remember. So you're saying his dad and everybody what they did all week and everything. Remember, Tyson Fury is not that Tyson Fury of that week. And remember, when whatever his team are doing, it represents him. Whenever Tyson Fury is boxing anywhere in the world, he represents British sportsmen and women. And Brits have the reputation of being hooligans when they're abroad. So he represents us. Like it or not, even if we don't, he represents us. He's a Brit. That was those Brits X, Y, Z. So whatever he does or his team does, it represents us. So we've got a right to say, "Yo, no, I ain't none of that. That's you. That's you. That." Now before that, Tyson Fury, and this may be a little controversial. It might not be, but I know Tyson Fury. They say he's got these mental health issues, and I totally understand that. But you know what? Sometimes he says some things. I'm thinking, if you have some mental health issues, you won't be saying that about our next man. I'm sorry. There's certain things when you're dropping it on a man and you're abusing a man, saying certain things to him. I'm thinking, if you know what you're saying and you know how that affects a person, why would you say that to another person? He's a lot more going on in there than what people give him credit for.
Well, you know what? I'm not no psychologist, so I can't say what he's doing from what he's not doing and all the rest of it. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is this, which I've noticed from when he came and he did the gloves are off with you for the Klitschko fight, Johnny, right? That's 2016, right?
He's a clever guy.
Yep.
He's a clever
Right?
man.
He is.
Trust me.
He is. And that was the
So that's why I
first time
don't
that me
buy.
and him
That's why I
properly
don't buy the
sat down and
bullshit. Because I
spoke.
know I'm thinking he's a clever kid,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and he'll play the fool to catch the wide with his
Yeah.
opponent and the public. He's a
Right.
clever kid.
But what I am going to say is this. What I notice is that he's the star guy. And what I notice is, and I think Billy Joe Saunders alluded to that as well. Sorry, 2015. Sorry, my brother. Right? Was how people were walking around him on eggshells. I remember that. They were walking around him like they were on eggshells. And as far as I'm concerned, that is not a good thing. Because every now and then, you need a real man around you to tell you about yourself. Right? But what I noticed, I'm just going to be real. I noticed that people were walking around him on eggshells. Right? Am I going to say that Tyson Fury is a bad person? No, I'm not, because I was fortunate enough last year in October to spend time with them guys, being in their camp. And Tyson Fury's all right. But what I noticed is like the guys are around him, it is like, right, he's a superstar and it's eggshells. That kind you can buy into your own hype, you know?
Yeah, and so the example is this: if you are surrounded by people that are not going to question you, your development mentally, physically, emotionally is going to stop, because people tell you what you want to hear. The current event at the moment is P Diddy. He's surrounded by everybody that wants to keep getting paid. They're going to tell him what he wants to hear. So therefore, my man's fight on reality is completely gone. So all of a sudden now, when people are brave enough to speak out because, well, I think, well, this gravy train's done now, so I'm going to speak my mind, it's too late, because this man got to the point where nobody's telling what he's doing is wrong. Nobody's pulling him. Nobody's checking him. Tyson Fury, people stopped checking him because he wanted to keep getting paid. And this is what the problem is. Because they want to get paid, they're gonna push it a little bit and then say, I ain't gonna send on. Frank's not going to pull him. He'll say something, then I'll back off. Frank will get kicked out and kicked into touch. Spencer Brown will only say certain things, then he'll get kicked into touch. His coaches and everybody will say certain things and get kicked into touch.
Spencer Brown's good people, man.
All right,
but I don't. You listen. End of the day, is this how it goes? Is this right? When you're a commodity like Tyson Fury, yeah, and the
successfully.
Exactly, and the exponential wealth that he's bringing in. People have told him, yes, Ben Oldham again, thank you for the £50. Fury is a good boxer, but his catalogue is limited. I perceive Fury's showing off and waving to the crowd as panic stations. Rounds 4, 5, and 6 was Fury at 100% effort, which it isn't sustainable. The writing was on the wall after round 6. AJ stops Fury. What's your take on Anthony Joshua versus AJ? Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. What's your take if that fight was to happen now? Thank you so much, Ben Oldham. Take that away, Johnny.
Well,
what do you think?
You know what? The last 2 fights of Tyson Fury, it's raised an eyebrow. He's a fight against Ngannou, you're thinking, Ross, you're giving an excuse, thinking whatever. His last stellar performance would have been October 21, again, was a third fight against
Wilder.
That was his last stellar performance.
Listen, that fight took it out of both of them.
Yes, that was his last stellar performance. Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, can we take a lot from him knocking out a guy that was in his second professional fight? No, we can't. We can't really, because that should have happened. Anybody that thought, oh my God, Anthony Joshua's done. He just knocked out a guy that's had his second professional fight.
I hear that, but it's the manner. No, Johnny. Johnny, it's the manner in how Anthony Joshua knocked him out.
But you know what? That's what Tyson Fury should have done. It should have happened. And that's why Anthony Joshua didn't start jumping like he just won a world title when he knocked him out.
Yeah,
because that always should have happened.
Francis Ngannou is older than you, Johnny.
Yeah, I hear that. But your thing is, and you know what? And it was his second professional boxing match.
Mm-hmm.
He was in there against a guy that had been a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, that had boxed the best in the world. Why would we expect anything else from day one with that fight? I said, no. This should be done. The only thing Ngannou's got is a big if he lands with that big shot. Everything else should be expected. So you've got to try and sell this fight so people think, what if that shot lands? But in reality, it should never happen. And that's what Tyson Fury have done. So what I'm saying is the performance of Tyson Fury and his last stellar performance is October 2021, so I'm thinking, are you starting to slip? What's going on here? Because you train to the best of your ability and look like an Adonis kind of an Adonis in your last fight, and look what happened. So you might be able to get yourself in physical condition, but mentally, have you stopped developing? Have you stopped growing? Have you stopped thinking for yourself when the bell goes? Because man can say do this, that, and the other, but when the bell goes, instinctively, you're going to do what works. And the Tyson Fury I saw in there against Holyfield and Usyk, that Tyson Fury, I saw him, the Tyson Fury I've seen, he turned up round 4 to round 8. That he turned up to round 8. And after that, him gone. I don't know who was in there. And so as Tyson Fury, have we seen the best of Tyson Fury? I believe we have. He's a very wealthy man that's surrounded by a lot of yes men. So therefore, his development mentally has now stopped. And everybody's scared to say that because they're scared of getting the sack. I don't work for him. I could, you know what? If Tyson Fury said, yo, Johnny, come, I want you to help me, I'd go and help him. I'd do tell him what to do to know how to deal with him. And I'll tell you who'd be a good trainer for him in his next fight against, if he fights
Alexander Usyk.
Dominic Ingle.
Yeah,
and you're thinking,
I bet you would. I think you was going to say that, mate. Yeah.
Shall I tell you why I said that? Because Dominic Ingle, no matter if you love or loathe him, he takes no shit from anybody. So when you're in there, this is what we're doing. You don't want to. You tell your fighter, your charge, right? I want you to do this. And I don't feel like doing that today. I'm not doing this. You want someone to say, get this thing done, or get out. So regardless of what you think of Dominic on a personal level, he's a no bullshit, no nonsense. This is what we're doing. And money ain't his God.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
You are surrounded by people that are thinking, I want to keep the job, And that's one thing I've got to give Dominic. He's no nonsense, no bullshit. And so Tyson Fury wants to get in there and think, I've got to beat this guy. He needs to be with a no nonsense, no bullshit coach that tells him what he's doing. Not the other way around. Because I believe it was the other way around in camp. With everybody.
Okay. I hear that, Johnny. Also on the card this week coming up, we've got your old buddy, because I used to train together or have physio together, in Isaac Chamberlain fighting Jack Massey for the vacant European cruiserweight crown, a belt that you used to hold, Johnny.
Yeah, I did. I held it twice, actually, 10 years apart.
A belt that you used to hold. Right. What's your take on that fight, Johnny?
I think Isaac Chamberlain, people forget Isaac Chamberlain used to be a sparring partner for Deontay Wilder, the old version of Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was a dangerous SOB. So Isaac Chamberlain is a very good boxer. He's got a good boxing brain, but his problem is his ego gets involved. And when he's in there, he gets comfortable coming second. Now he's starting to taste coming first. Now he's got a chance to go in there for the European title. But to go in there for the European title, he should win this. He has a boxing IQ to get this done. He has the experience, but he needs to look back at the experience and try, I need to draw on this. Because if I don't, all the sparring I've done all over the world, all the fights I've had all over the world, I've got it for no reason. Because you get some guys that are happy to be a sparring partner, brilliant sparring partners. And if they can transfer that into the ring, they'd be world champions. Isaac Chamberlain's he's taken his time publicly to get his fight style out of sparring partner mentality, being comfortable coming second. So now he's at a point where he thinks, I need this. I need this more than anything. I think he wins, beats Jack Massey. I think he has a beating of him.
The craziest thing is this. I remember Richie Riakporhe beat Jack Massey, right?
Yeah.
For the British, right? When boxing beats and rhymes. Big up yourself, my friend. What are you saying? Boxing beats and rhymes says on here, send some money. You're making big money for your channel. You little mean so and so. Like he says, Johnny beat Marcus Bott for the EBU.
Europeans.
Yeah, that's what you meant to put, but you didn't put it. Bot tested for steroids, one of the earliest drug cheats in boxing.
Correct. And then Marcus Bott, they slapped him on the wrist, and Marcus Bott then went on to box for the WBO title. Even so, he got banned, came back, boxed the WBO title Friday. But you know what? I was a boy and I wasn't a man then. I beat him. I beat a cheat. Then 10 years later, I did it all over again. Won the British and the European title 10 years later against the German Alexander. I can't remember his name. I won the European title. I won the European title. Not many fighters understand that when you've gone through that, once you've done it, you've done it. And so this European title is valuable. The European title says you are the king of Europe, of the best in Europe. So for Isaac Chamberlain and Jack Massey fighting for this title, it's a big deal. This is your gateway. It's a big deal, and it proves you belong above domestic level. You belong at least top European level. This is how important the European title's about. And apparently on that night, there was a young 11-year-old chap marching around like Adolf Hitler, nearly got himself arrested. And that 11-year-old was called Eddie Hearn. And his dad, Barry, who was the original Don Gargan, was in the corner with Brendan that night when I beat Marcus Bott. And it's because Barry used to promote me. So listen to me, there's a lot of history there that people forget about.
Interesting, my friend. Interesting. So I'm saying, like, Johnny, what's your call for this Jack Massey versus Isaac Chamberlain fight?
I think Isaac Chamberlain beats him on points. It doesn't stop him. I think he beats him on points.
Do you know what?
Hard, tough points fight.
Do you know the craziest thing is this? Sky posted up the other day. Me and Ed Robertson did the ABA finals. What was it 2014, right? And it was Jack Massey boxed Chris Billiam Smith in the final. And Jack Massey beat him. And it's weird how careers go because now Jack Massey, good fighter, fights Richard Riakporhe a few years ago, loses to Richard Riakporhe, and then he takes a fight at heavyweight against Joseph Parker, which was ridiculous. I don't know what he was doing up at that weight. You know what I mean? And he loses to him. But I'm telling you this now, because Isaac is not really a concussive puncher. Isaac's a skill star.
No.
Right? He's a skill star, right? I know this is going to be a torrid night for both men. It's not going to be an easy night. But I think, well, Isaac is so crispy sharp with skills, and Isaac now is walking around with a different found belief. Now that he's British and Commonwealth champion, right? But then he relinquished the British. Now that he's now fighting for this title here, I believe that we're going to see the best Isaac. Like, skill-wise, Isaac is ridiculously skilled. And you know the crazy thing about it is this. It's like if you flip back the page like 6 years ago, Isaac, Richard, what's his name? Jay Pester, who else did he have? Chris Congo. They were all being trained by Ted Bammy down at the Brixton gym, right? They were all being trained by Ted Bammy. And it's kind of weird how everything kind of broke up and then every fighter just went away on different things. But at that time, the star boy in that gym was Isaac Chamberlain.
He was the most experienced out of them all. He was the most experienced out of them all. He was the one that was prepared to go to America and on his own and be a sparring partner. That's why he was the star boy, because he's the wisest, smartest out of all of them. And he's just got to shake that sparring partner mentality off his head.
Well, you know what? He's got a massive opportunity. I believe that he's going to come out victorious. I believe that because the original opponent pulled out and they've got Jack Massey. But one thing I do know is, like, for entertainment, that's going to be an entertaining fight. Right? Because we've seen what happened with Isaac fighting with a broken orbital bone when he fought Chris Billiam Smith and he carried on fighting. Isaac wants it, right? But because he's not a concussive puncher, right? That's why this fight is going to be entertaining, because Isaac throws in bursts, and if you look at Jack Massey stays in there to have it with you. I'm really looking forward to that fight.
It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great fight.
Also on the card, also on your card is your Winkerbank wannabe fighter, in Ben Whitaker.
I think he might want to be fine. You know what, Ben? I rate this boy. I think this boy, he carries on doing what he's doing. He's gold dust. The boy is gold dust because he has what it takes. He cannot just fight. He understands the business. It's show business, and he gets both sides of it. You know, this guy, he puts bums on seat. You either want to see him win or lose. He can fight. He can showboat. He trains like an absolute trooper and makes out as though it's the last thing he wants to do. And I rate him. I rate him massively. And let me tell you, this fight that he has coming up, you know, he was in there with somebody that had the audacity to gate crash his press conference, and the public saying, "Oh, he's got to fight him now. He's got somebody who wants to get in there with him." Trust me, he's gonna block him up. He's gonna make it look so easy. And then what will people say? He's going
No,
to,
listen,
then he's
wait,
going
Johnny,
to
you're not.
twist him up.
Oh, thank you, Mohammed Ahmed. Thank you so much for the 4.99. Spence and Johnny. There we go. Spence and Johnny. Do you think Shiraz can beat Eubank Jr.? And Warren thinks that he can be the face of boxing. Both of your thoughts on this one. Right, my thoughts are this. I'm gonna be real. I know Hamza Shiraz. I've known him since he's been a young kid. I believe that he's a very special talent. He proved it the other day by making my prediction come out absolutely correct and right. I believe that, you know what I mean? I believe that he can beat anyone he's put in front of him. Seriously. Because he's young. He's literally a student of the game. He does nothing else but box.
Depends on how long he can stay at the weight for.
Now, he does the weight relatively easy, you know?
No, I don't, man.
He does the. What do you mean? No, he don't. He does the. Listen. He does the. Johnny, I don't want to hear nothing for you. Listen, he moved up from like middleweight. He couldn't do like middleweight properly. He's now boxing at middleweight. I'm telling you, that kid's the real deal, man.
I ain't saying nothing because I'll be chatting business.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I'm telling you, if he could do the weight, listen, that win that he had the other day over the win that he had over Amon Williams.
That's what I'm saying. And the way he had to make the weight and the win he got, I thought, shit. You know, I know how this boy had to make the weight. I know how hard he had to make the weight. I'm thinking to win like that, he's a very talented young fighter. So it's a case of you can't keep doing that to make the weight because it's going to take out something out of you. And he still won after the way I heard him make the weight. I'm like, rotted, and still won the way he did. You can only go to the well so many times of that, and then it takes it out of it. So it's a case of how long he stays at the weight.
Well, if not, he's 6'3". He can move on super. He can move on to super middle, right? But I'm just looking at that kid, and I'm saying, yeah, Hamza Shiraz, he's a good fighter, mate. But going back to Ben Whitaker's gonna blips this little Nigerian guy. I'm telling you, right? And you know what? Listen, let me tell you this, right? No, it's gonna be. If that fight goes 3 rounds, yeah. If that fight goes 3 rounds,
on this line.
right, Johnny, I'm telling you now, if that fight goes 3 rounds, 4 rounds.
It's because Ben wants it to.
Yeah, it's exactly. Ben Whitaker is supremely talented. And you know when you're like serious, when Americans, yeah, I'm talking 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, when I was out in America when I was out in Dubai for, who was it? Jamel Herring defending his world title against Carl Frampton. And I'm out there, and there was a young kid at the time who nobody didn't really hear of, Keyshawn Davis. He had his second pro fight. I think his second pro fight, yeah. His second pro fight out there. And Keyshawn Davis, I was talking to Keyshawn, I said, what fighters do you respect and rate? And he said, talking about the amateur, because he still went back to fight in the Olympics. He said, yeah, I really do rate Ben Whitaker. I think he's real good. So when Americans are talking about you like that, right, you must be good. So when people are saying, but, you know, he can do all that flash stuff at that level, he's competed at the top blinking level in the world in the amateurs, right? He's boxed that style right throughout. I think the kid's got star written all over him. People say, well, you can get away with them stuff right now, but when you move up you're gonna. Obviously, when he moves up, he's going to make the slight adjustments. I believe that he is, because he's intelligent. Can you hear him talk? You know that he's intelligent. And you need intelligence. Intelligence rules the world, and ignorance is his burden. And I think that kid's very intelligent.
Totally agree, and he works so hard. He works more than most people out there. People see their end results. That's what it's like. David Beckham, when he played football, people didn't realise he was first one at the training ground, was the last one to leave. But you see the end result, and they think it's just about bling, being on the arm of some pop star. But he puts the work in. Ben Whittaker puts the work in. And just because he ain't telling anybody, bragging about, I'm doing X, Y, Z, boy puts the work in. Then he'll just turn up looking dapper, making out like, yeah, no big deal. He works harder than everybody and anybody.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, great fighter. Yeah, I mean, I like the kid. I do. I like the kid a lot. I think he's a very, very good fighter. Yeah,
When can I go to my bed? I'm tired, man.
Now,
I'm in bed
Johnny,
for 8:30.
I've kept you for the duration of time. You've done an hour with me. Thank you so much, Johnny. You can jump off now. Give us another reason why people should tune in for next week, Saturday, for the big Chris Billiam Smith versus Richard Riakporhe WBO world title, the crown that you formerly held. Give us a reason why everyone should tune in to Sky next Saturday.
The reason why is because this fight is a true hard-fought warrior fight. Two fighters boxed each other 4 or 5 years ago. Check out the gloves off. Watch them. Watch how these boys operate. Watch how these boys are with each other. Both fighters are going to leave heart and soul in the ring. And I mean, this ain't going to be no sleep fest. This is going to be a fight because one needs it and one needs to keep it. And I know if you are the best in the world, you want to prove you're the best in the world. You don't want to be. There's only a handful of world champions out there that believe they're the best champion in the world. Now, I do. Does Chris Billiam Smith believe he's the best cruiserweight? No, I don't. But he's got to keep his path on the road towards it because he's got appetite there. Because he's thinking those fights can be made. This is the beginning of an amazing story at a top world class level. You've got to watch Saturday night.
Johnny Nelson, thank you so much.
Peace.
I might just jump in and have a guest, but thank you for joining. Oh, also, Johnny.
Yeah, man.
I see you driving up and down in your BYD electric cars. What's going on, bro?
Hey, listen, you know what? So I don't know about cars. So I'm not no flash. My only extravagance in my life, I don't wear jewelry. I don't wear designer clothes. My only extravagance in my life from day one is a Range Rover. I drive a Range Rover. And
So
I'm
do
thinking, you know what? So I'm thinking, you know what? That's my
It's
only
a good, reliable car.
No matter all I've ever done. And then this company, BYD, came on and said, come, check out electric. I'm like, really? I got in this car. It's like the best fitting pair of shoes I've ever bought in my life. The thing glides. It's a car. I don't drive cars. It's a car. I don't drive fast. I can drive fast, 4-wheel drive. This thing is like their battery, their old battery, is the new battery Tesla use. The technology is ridiculous. The thing's on point. But anyway, my point is this. If you are thinking about going electric, check it out. They've got a 4x4. The thing can go in water and come out still working. Now, I don't know much about cars, but what I'm saying is check it out. To me, you know what? They've done me a right favor there. And they turn him into a believer. And I never thought I'd end up going that way, but it looks like I am.
Good. I'm going to test drive one of these BYDs.
Come on, man.
Trust me,
I'm
definitely going to be doing that. Sorry, before you go, Joe Farmer's just asked. Oh, sorry, let me see there. Right, Muhammad Ahmed, thank you again for the 199. What about Gervonta Davis's fight next week? Johnny also wants to go to his bed. Can't you see? Like he's right, but you know what I mean. My thought is this: that's not an easy fight for Gervonta Davis, simply because Frank Martin can box and he's tough. And he's not scared of Gervonta Davis. But the thing about Gervonta Davis is when someone's got that clinical KO power like what he's got, it is never an easy night. But I know this fight here in particular is not an easy fight for him.
I expect him to win inside 8 rounds.
Okay, but it's still not an easy fight.
It's going to be an amazing knockout. And where you think, shit, it's such an obvious knockout. This boy can punch. And he's got a smarter brain than people give him credit for.
Sorry, Johnny. Also, did you see Adrian Broner versus?
Yeah, I've seen it. I reposted your thing, man. I'm like,
yeah,
Adrian, man, he's such a wasted talent. Adrian Broner. And you know when he's my age, he'll look back at that young version of himself and he'll want to reach in the screen and bitch slap himself. This boy has wasted so much natural talent. And I just think it's such a shame. So you know what? If he don't want it as much as everybody else does, you can't feel for him. It's one of those things.
Yeah. You know what? It was kind of. You know what? I remember what fight was it? It was Gavin Reese when he challenged Adrian Broner for his world title. Yeah. And Adrian Broner comes up to you and says, "Yo, Johnny Nelson." I remember this. I remember when this one was at Sky, Adam came in the office. Yeah, bro, Spencer, Broner knows Johnny. like right? I'm like, Adam, you idiot, man, in a box, right? So, yeah, Broner came up to Johnny. He was like, right. So, and I was like, people don't seem to understand, like, the persona that we get on camera from Adrian Broner is not the person that you get when the cameras are not on him. Adrian Broner is actually a very, very nice guy, very respectful
He's a
guy.
nice kid. He's a
Right.
nice kid.
Because I met him quite a few times out in America. And this time was like, I remember I did some filming in Floyd's gym. And this is when Charles Lawrence was working for Sky as well. So he arranged the camera crew for me to get into Floyd's gym. And I remember being down there and seeing Adrian Broner there. Very, very nice. And also Errol Spence, but very nice guy. Right? But unfortunately, when you put a camera on these guys, and in America, it is if you really want to make it in America and you like your bottom being kissed, go to America. Because like it's the entourage is the whole thing. Like people just wake up and say, "What's your job?" "I'm a professional entourage, man." Right? Right? So I don't think that helped with Adrian Broner. Right? But what I do know is that he's actually a nice guy and he's gonna kick himself. And imagine, look at the days. We're going to turn back in history and say, like, a man that was a 4-weight world champion was actually wasted talent. And that's crazy.
It's true. It's true.
That
Right,
is
we're going up
crazy.
my bed.
All right.
Mohammed,
Johnny Nelson,
bless.
thank you so much for joining the Fight is Right and that you're jumping off. I'll be down at the press conference this week. Johnny's gone. So Johnny's gone right now. Let me just go see, because I don't want to. Right. Yep. So that is all done. Boxing Beats Around. Thank you so much for the £5. Big up for jumping on our thing, because I watch your thing regular. Right. Broner's best days, definitely. Broner's best days were at 135. Broner was incredible at that time. Absolutely incredible and a joy to watch. You know what I mean? A joy to watch. But checkmate saying Broner is done. Man them got to spark out by a part-time. Yeah, ventriloquist. Crazy but very true. He did get beat by a part-time ventriloquist. And a man that paints his nails black. I don't know what that is all about. But anyway, I hope half past fashion. How you doing? Hey, everybody. Mohammed Ahmed, thank you again for the 79p. You just threw that in. You know what? I'm jumping off this thing right now. It's time for me to go rest up. It's time for me to go and get my break. I hope. There we go. Mohammed Ahmed. Thank you very much for the compliment. What's your thoughts on Amir Khan fighting KSI? My thoughts on Amir Khan fighting KSI are it's an entertainment business where Amir Khan is looking to grab a money grab, but I don't know what Amir Khan's got left, right? But if Amir Khan's got anything reasonable left, Amir Khan's meant to punch the living daylights out of KSI. But I don't know what he's got left. And also, I remember Tunde taking KSI on the pad saying, this brother can punch, you know, right? And even though it's some little joke boxing that he's doing, but Amir Khan is meant to outskill him and outbox him. That's my honest and fair opinion. That's what I think could happen. You know what I mean? Anything else coming up here? I don't think there is nothing else coming up here. And I'm going to leave it be. Thank you so much. It was me carrying the show, but Johnny Nelson, I thought would be the ideal person to jump on the show because he was WBO cruiserweight champion of the world, and here we got a big fight coming up on a Saturday where it's going to happen. Yes, Chrissy Blue, big up Spencer. Thanks for holding it down for us on the pod this week. This evening. No problemo. I mean, like I said, Tunde's busy in some big negotiations right now, so he's not here. He's got a lot of things to go take care of, so I had to hold it down for my bro, like he would do for me. Mark Prince was meant to jump on. I sent the link, but I ain't gonna drag no more people on it here. We have to keep focused. Air Force, big up yourself. Great show, Spence. Thank you very much. Joel Farmer, big up yourself. You know what? I'm just grateful that I've had you guys on the show today. I'm grateful that we did the show because everything is about consistency, and that you do most is that you do best. I love boxing, and so do you guys. So we end it in the magical, famous words of my brother from another mama, Mr. Baba Tunde Ajayi. Dream it, believe it, become it. Come on up. I wish you all a pleasant, strong next 7 days because we don't do weekdays. Our days are strong. Peace, two fingers. I'm out. Later.